Hey everyone, it's Steve from the garden. It's time to get some of our spring vegetables in. We did the onions already. Next is this lettuce. Lettuce will take some cold, and I'm sure we're going to get some cold still. Now I am going to put this in my double layer hinge hoop house, so it will stay warmer than the outside air, generally speaking. And this will be just for the spring. Later on, as it warms up more, I will put lettuce in another spot inside the fenced-in area of the garden. Anyways, let's get some of these in. These have actually taken off pretty well. These were started on February 21st, about a month ago. And I'm just going to pop them out. We got a couple different varieties here. This first one is Iceberg. Now, some of these I'm going to just pick off the leaves, and some of them I might let go till they produce a head or something close to that. So I don't have to be particularly picky about spacing. Just get them planted in. Keep going. I don't need to put them in any particular order. We'll just use them as we pick them out. So I'll get this part done and I'll check back. The lettuces are all planted in. The four varieties we have are Iceberg, Grand Rapids Leaf, Ruby Red Leaf, and Paris Island Romaine. So two of those varieties will produce heads and two will not. They're just leaf lettuces. Alright, so next step is put the broccoli in. We'll take you over there and we'll get that process started. For planting the broccoli, this bed is 4 foot by 12 foot, and I'll put like 5 plants within this one area right here. So the first one, the biggest one, I'll actually put right here in the center. Pop this in. Build that up. Do the same with the next one. Get that one off in this corner. Do that, water them in. These will be ready to go. One of the things I'm going to do differently this year versus last year for my broccoli is in 2019 I had a really good broccoli harvest. 2020 got almost nothing because of pests of some kind. Whether it was bugs or there's a rabbit that was getting into this area. Almost got nothing until like fall when the bugs and all that were gone. And in fall I also covered that area with like a plastic hoop house. So this year what I'm doing is I'm going to cover this area with this Agribond 15 and see if that allows me to get harvest without the bugs or the rabbit getting in here. I'm using these spring clips, and on the bottom we'll just take it, clamp it on, and I'll put other clamps, stuff on the top. Broccoli's planted, watered, and the Agribond 15 is put up. Now I ended up putting 4 plants in here initially just because the 5th one was still kind of small, so I'll wait another week or 2 for that one and then plant that one. Alright, this lettuce has now been on the ground for a week and it's going pretty well. Definitely seeing some growth in here. Even these little ones over here are showing some growth. These larger Grand Rapids leaves are doing well, taking off. They're definitely benefiting from being in the ground and out in the sun. So let's take a look at the broccoli next. Broccoli's also been in the ground for a week and they're showing growth, especially this big one over here. That one's definitely added some size to it. Now, if you're wondering what this stuff is here, this is alfalfa pellets, which will add some nitrogen in here. So I actually did a combination of some alfalfa pellets with some blood meal, sprinkle it around the plants to provide that extra nitrogen boost that the broccoli needs. I still have a spot over there where those pellets are. I haven't put that broccoli in, but since I was fertilizing, I may as well just go ahead and put it on there. So that's it for these. Let's go on to the next thing. This is where I'm going to be planting potatoes this year. I gotta get this bed ready. So I'm going to be putting potatoes in the ground. I don't know if I'm going to do it this week or next week, but I'm going to take this, I'm going to pull the wood chips off into like a 17-gallon tote, store them in these 18-gallon tubs, put them off to the side, and once I have the potatoes all planted, I'll put the wood chips back on as a mulch. So the first step will be doing that, pull out the leftover broccoli that was grown last year. I actually have some little garlics that are popping up here. Those must have been from some small little bulblets that were left over from last year. Nice, let me get that going and I'll check back. The wood chips have mostly been removed. The next step is using a garden fork to till up the soil. I consider most of my beds to be no-till beds, but when I filled these original raised beds here, I used a combination of compost and topsoil, and the topsoil just got kind of compacted. Now when I grew last year, I put originally had garlic and onions, and then later on I did broccoli and lettuce and some cabbages, and I just put compost over top, and most of those are fairly shallow rooted, so they did fine in that couple inches of compost in it. But the potatoes, because they go deeper, I might just use that garden fork, till this up, add peat moss in, and get it really nice and loose, so that when the potatoes grow, they have no restrictions. So let me get that going, and I'll check back. Okay, got that done. Most of the bed wasn't too bad. This area over by the camera, that was probably about the best in terms of soil texture in that. The far end over here, especially on your right, that area was definitely had a lot more clay and stuff into it. But got it broken up now, or most of it. Probably will top this off with some compost, and then we'll get planting those potatoes. Got the compost laid down on the potato bed, so this is now ready for planting. I'm going to hold off until next week to actually plant the potatoes, just because we have some cold temperatures coming in on Wednesday, Thursday, so I'm on delay for another week. This raspberry bed is also ready to go. I did add a little bit of soil acidifier to it to bring down the pH a little bit. Alright, so I have something else I want to show you with the onion bed. The onions have been in the ground for a week. They're all standing up now, and we have some colder temperatures coming in on Wednesday, Thursday, where it's going to get into the lower 20s. And my onions can take colder temperatures. I am going to go and put some Agribond 15, which is like a floating road cover over these, just to provide a little extra frost protection. So I made these little hoops out of CPVC, which is really flexible. It's like a 1/2 inch. They're 10-foot length, so I cut them in half, put them in here as hoops. I'll string this out, or I will cover them with this. So let me get that done and we'll take a look. The floating roll cover is in place. Looks like it's going to work pretty well. I don't actually need it right this moment, so I will take it off now that I know everything fits, and have it all ready to go for like the Wednesday, Thursday night when we get cold. You can tell spring is coming because the daffodils are coming up along with the tulips here. And this group of Daffodils, they're blooming already. These ones right by the house, they come up a little sooner just because they must get some radiant heat from the house here. Now let's take a look at the petunias real quick. So I did go through and pot up a number of petunias here. We got the red, the whites. So those are potted up, along with some of the purples and more of the reds. The reds and the whites, they just do really well in terms of growing from seed and producing seed. So you always get like an abundance of those. And then the purples aren't quite as prolific here. That's it for this week's video. So subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you in the next one.